Hey everyone, happy Monday. Hope everyone had a good weekend. And here we are again, back to work. So let me start off with the bus today here. Rafa was working on this guy all day, and I think he's got all the electrical done now. I had done a lot of the electrical in the past, but there were still a few things that needed to be finished up. And so he's been working on those. So let's take a look here. So the panels, the kick panels are still not in, so you can kind of see what happened here. So we like to use the pretty much, I think it's 66 only, or 65 and 66. I'll have to double check, but we like to use this style flasher box. It's a single box on these cars. It's a lot like the box used on, say, a 67 or so bus or Beetle, where it's a single box that has both functions of both turn signals and the emergency flasher. On these earlier cars that had an emergency flasher, they actually used two separate flasher relays. One controlled the turn signals and the other kind of controlled the emergency flashers, and it was a little convoluted. One of them mounted on this side, the other mounted over here. You had all these wires going back and forth, and I don't think anyone makes that little emergency flasher. Obviously, the turn signal flasher is not a problem. They make that in 6 volts, 12 volts, etc. But it's the other one that's really the issue. So, again, for kind of simplicity and the fact that, to our knowledge, you can't get that little emergency flasher, we do it this way. So luckily, Eddie over at Eddie and Dave's Garage had a working 6-volt flasher like this, like I said, out of maybe a 66 bus or a Beetle. So yeah, Rafa hooked it all up and tested it, and it works beautifully. And then he made a very nice looking little bracket for it that looks factory, mounted all down there. So there you go. We tested it out today. Turn signals work, emergency flashers work, bitchin'. So he did that. I think he connected the grounds on the headlights, which I hadn't done for whatever reason. And then he went ahead and put the nose emblem on. The excuse me, the owner had it on before, but he just kind of had it sitting on there more or less with tape holding it. So it is on there for good now with the little clips and everything. So yeah, this bus is moving right along. I think I mentioned last week that the front fixed windows went in, the windscreens. No Safaris on this one. So yeah, all the windows are in. We still need to fix this little spot of the floor here, and by fix it I mean basically paint it, where we had to move that seat rail. So yeah, once we do that, then the rear floor mat can go in, the middle seat can go in, and then I did end up texting back and forth with the owner, and he is going to box up his motor and send it down. And so as far as I know, we'll be doing the complete motor. I don't think he even has a long block built, so I think he's going to send us his parts essentially, or his donor motor, core motor, whatever you want to call it, and then we'll do everything. So yeah, looking forward to getting that, because honestly, this bus is getting to the point where about the next thing is the motor. Suppose we could put the front bumper on it and a few other little things like that. But yeah, this baby is getting there. So yeah, once we get that motor, then we'll dig in on that, and this thing will be together in no time. So pretty exciting. So for me, I kind of worked on these two red beauties here today. On this red beauty, which is the 67, I installed his rear interior panels, rear quarter panels, and I got his doors ready for installing their panels. So I went ahead and put on the water barriers on those, so they're all ready to go. And then I was going to install the panels, and I realized that like a dummy, I had forgot to buy the actual armrests, and his were pretty bad, so we need a new one. So I went ahead and ran out to Wolfsburg West today and picked up two armrests for this. These get it on the driver and passenger side, unlike earlier cars that only had it on one side, except for convertibles. So yeah, I got the armrest, so I can go ahead and put on these front door panels anytime now. And then I also picked up a windshield We always put new windshields on these cars regardless of whether the original ones look good or not. So I picked up the windshield, the seal, and the trim. And then likewise for the back window, got the, we already have the window, which seems fine. So I also got the seal and the trim for it. So this baby also coming together super fast here. So that was it for this one today. This one spent quite a bit of time prepping parts. His rear brakes, as you know, those of you that follow the channel, were pretty much a complete disaster. He had a leaky wheel cylinder on one side, a leaky axle on the other. Everything was all gross. And so I went ahead and spent the time, because I hate putting gross parts back on cars. Even though I cleaned them, they're still gross. So pretty much sandblasted the backing plates and all the other parts and shot some paint on them, and then went ahead and installed the backing plates and the axle caps with, of course, new seals and all that good stuff in them. And then likewise the brake lever and push bar and stuff like that, went ahead and sandblasted those and got them coated and stuff like that. And even the little doodads that hold the e-brake cable. So yeah, all this stuff is ready to go together. Got a new set of German wheel cylinders there. Went ahead and got new hoses, because based on the condition of the other brake stuff here, it's not really worth skipping out on replacing those the rubber hoses while we're at it. So yeah, brakes are ready to go back together now. All the kind of pain in the ass stuff, which is, you know, cleaning all this stuff and stuff like that, that's done. Thankfully, I got that out of the way. So after I mounted the backing plates and the axle retainer caps, I went ahead and did his spring plates. And so those went on pretty well. I did also repaint his spring plate retainer there. They were already kind of undercoated, like you see all up under here, but they had overspray on them from, I guess, when the car got painted, and it just looked kind of bad. So I went ahead and shot a quick coat of paint on those. And then, yeah, I went ahead and put these together. So the way I set them up is like you see here, where pretty much all the adjustment in the screw is going lower on the car. And then I set them up, the place I put them at, the sort of static height of the car, I set it about a ½ inch lower than it was before. So I think having that as kind of the baseline, you could go a little bit higher if you crank that thing up, but I do have the set screw there almost out that way, where it's flush with the bottom of the little block. You could go up if you wanted, but that's not really the goal of the car. The goal is to bring the car down. So I kind of started with about a ½ inch drop relative to where it was before, and then he can go down about another 2 inches from there is what that adjustment works out to. Handy trick to know with these spring plates is the ratio between the torsion bar and this adjuster versus the torsion bar and the axle is 3-to-1. So in other words, if you were to change this distance here by 1/4 of an inch, you would get a 3/4 of an inch drop at the axle. So just kind of a handy thing to know, because you can actually like measure this distance here with a caliper and then make an adjustment to you can pretty much target what you want to do. Like say you want to, well, again, lower the car 3/4 of an inch, then boom, you do the quick math and you know that you need to change this distance in here by 1/4 of an inch. So you can actually measure that and predict it, and it's going to be pretty damn close. So very handy to know that that ratio between there and there and there and there. Anyway, so yeah, ½ inch static drop relative to where it was before, and then plenty to go down from there, and could even go up a little. So that's where I set those. So those are ready to go. New bushings and stuff, of course. His old ones were all crappy and wore out, maybe original to the car, who knows. The only thing I forgot to clean up is these, which are looking pretty gross. The numbers actually seem okay, but probably clean the actual mounts here. Have overspray and stuff all over them before I put those on. Yeah, so the brakes will go together super easy tomorrow, and then I can actually put the axles back onto the spring plates and stuff like that. So cool, finally coming together. And let's see, I think that would actually pretty much be it for today, guys. There was some work going on the barn door, which is still in our little body work booth out there. A little bit more paint work, and then our guy that we use that does color sanding, so not Robert, but the other guy, he started buffing that bus on the outside, and it is coming out amazing. Like totally brought that paint job to another level. So maybe tomorrow or the next day, that bus will be back indoors, back in our regular shop here, and then I'll go over everything we did, and you guys will be amazed to see how much better it all looks. So stay tuned for that. Maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day. In the meantime, that is it for today, guys. Appreciate you all watching, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Bye.